Sunday School teacher, thank you for joining us for our time of preparation and study. Go ahead and get your Bible. We're going to be in Numbers chapter 32, and we're going to be working on the lesson for Sunday, January the 12th. The title of this lesson is God Expects. Again, Numbers chapter 32. Get your outline, your teaching notes, your pen, paper. Let's jump into this. The point of the lesson, what we want our people walking out with on their mind and meditating on and working toward, is that God expects His people to keep their promises and commitments. God expects that. When we make a promise to Him and to each other, God expects us to be true to our word. So again, Numbers chapter 32, we're going to begin in verse 20. The title of the lesson is that God expects. Giving you some background items there. We know that the Israelites had made a commitment to the Lord at Mount Sinai, and that commitment included the Lord's promise to give His people the land of Canaan. In other words, the people said, yes, you're our God. And God says, because of your faithfulness and following, you will get the land of Canaan. The document that guided their commitment was the Ten Commandments. The last 6 of the Ten Commandments reveal their commitment to the Lord included their loyalty and right behavior toward one another. Not just what they did to and for God, but what they did and to for others. It's part of it. God expects us to be true. In this session, we're going to address the challenge that they had in their commitment to one another. And again, their commitment to one another is their commitment to the Lord. And the passage that we're looking at tells the story of the tribes of Reuben and Gad. These two tribes desired to settle on the east side of the Jordan River. And that was not what was supposed to happen. Everybody was supposed to go across the Jordan to the land of Canaan. And so they wanted to stay on the other side. So would this desire cause them not to keep their promise and their commitment to the rest of the Israelites? They had to go run out the folks from Canaan in order to take possession. Well, if they're going to stay on the other side of the river, they don't have to go to war. They don't have to go to battle. Would they fulfill their obligation and their promise to help their kin? Well, we know that the Reubenites and the Gadites, they already had possession of significant amount of livestock. They had already, that's what they were known for. They recognized the fertile territory east of the Jordan, and it was well suited for their purposes. And so they approached Moses and the other leaders of the community with the request to remain in that region and settle west of the Jordan instead of going over. And so that's where we pick up the story in verse 20 of chapter 32. There we see, and Moses replied to them, if you do this, if you arm yourself for battle before the Lord, and every one of your armed men crosses the Jordan before the Lord until He has driven out His enemies from His presence, and the land is subdued before the Lord. Afterward you may return and be free from the obligation to the Lord and to Israel, and this land will belong to you as a possession before the Lord. But if you don't do this, you will